Yeah, just draw this diagram. Draw the diagram. I hope the diagram is drawn. So we were discussing CNC features and we stopped at, if you remember, radius compensation. Now, what is radius compensation means? The program what we do, just now I showed, that is called as the center line programming. That is, it is as per the center of the spindle. Means it is assumed that cutter diameter is zero. It is assumed that cutter diameter is zero. Now, practically, it is not possible. Practically, you cannot have cutter diameter zero. Am I audible, Fernandez? Skin is visible, no?
Yes, sir.
So you will be using, suppose if you want to do external milling, what I showed now, you may use 10 dia cutter or 20 dia cutter. So since it is center line programming, you will have to, suppose if you are using 10 dia cutter, then you will have to offset that cutter by 5 mm. And you'll have to calculate all those points as per 5 dia. That is, if you look at this diagram carefully, you'll see here. Suppose I want to mill this profile, and if I'm using say 5 dia cutter, see earlier it was center line programming. Center line programming is what? Cutter diameter is zero. So the cutter, uh, so since the cutter diameter is zero, it will move along this line. It will move along this line. But it is not possible to have cutter diameter zero. So if I use cutter diameter 10, then this entire profile has to be offset, hmm, on the positive side. That means on the outside by 5 mm. So that means the cutter will be placed here and the center line will be offset by 5 mm if it is 10 dia cutter. Suppose if the 10 dia cutter, and then you will program as per the 10 dia cutter. That means instead of this 100, it will be how much? 5 mm here and 5 mm here. So like that you will have to calculate 110. Instead of this which is 80, it will be 5 mm top, 5 mm bottom. So that will be 90. But suppose if the 10 dia cutter is not available in the stores or in the tool crib, uh, and if the tool crib person or the stores in charge, if he said that 20 dia cutter is there, then again you will have to go to the machine and you will have to change the program. That means instead of this 100, now you will have to take 10 here, 10 here, 20 for the 20 dia cutter. So it will become 120. Okay, at least 10 dia, 20 dia is little easy to calculate. But what happens many times you send the cutter for regrinding. So that time it may happen that 20 dia cutter will become say 19.82. So half of that you will have to calculate and you will have to go on adding, subtracting. It will be very tedious. So that's why you have a feature which is called as the tool diameter compensation. So in tool diameter compensation, what you have to do, you have to, there is a tool library in the CNC machine. There is a tool library. So in the tool library, you have to give what is the tool diameter and what is the tool length, because tool diameter will vary as well as tool length will also vary. So in the tool library, you have to define, let's say tool number one, diameter 10 milling cutter. Hmm. And what is the length? 75 mm. Tool number two, uh, diameter 16 end mill. What is the length? Maybe say 100 mm. and then this tool number 2 or tool number 1 you have to call in the main program, and there are codes to invoke the cutter diameter compensation, and these codes are G41 and G42. In case of 41, the cutter will be placed on the left hand side, G41. That means, and in case of G42, the cutter will be placed on the right hand side. So suppose if I am doing, see now, if I have to do external milling for this particular profile, I can do like this, either like this, I can go, which is nothing but cutter is placed on the right hand side. See, now the cutter is placed on the right. So that time you have to use G42, or you can do like this, Aisa. So in this case, the cutter is placed on the left hand side. So for that, you have to use G41. So you have to use this tool diameter compensation, that is G41 or G42, and you have to also call the tool change, or in the main program, or you have to also call the tool number. So T01, T02. So now the machine understand ki take tool number 1, it has to read the diameter from the tool library, and accordingly it has to adjust the position of the cutter or the center line of the spindle. So automatically it will offset. So even if you are given the diameter as say 12.893, the control will calculate half of that, and accordingly it will offset. So this is what is very important feature in CNC milling as well as in CNC lathe also. Now CNC lathe may vary the diameter of the cutter. See, in CNC lathe what happens, the every cutting tool, single point cutting tool has nose radius, because if it is sharp, moment to touch, it will break off. So every tool will have a nose radius. Nose radius is minimum 0.4 and maximum it is 1.8 millimeter. So that nose radius you have to specify in the tool library. If it is 0.4, you have to specify that 0.4. So accordingly, the control will calculate the center line of that nose radius, and it will offset the tool so that you get the correct profile. If it is not offset, either you will get oversized part or you will get undersized component. Hmm. So that is what is radius compensation is. I hope you understood. If you are not understood, please ask. So we'll go for next. uh, Tool life management. Just go through this. What is tool life management? So tool life management means, see, there are many tools, and if the tool becomes, so this is again a feature of CNC. So it keeps a record of every tool. Tool life is nothing but the time elapsed between two successive grinding. Like say you have ground the tool at say 11 o'clock and you have been using it for 1 hour or 2 hours, hmm, and then after 2 hours it becomes blunt. So again you are send it for the regrinding. So the tool life is 2 hours. So this record is kept, hmm, by the control, and this is what is called the tool life management. It compares also, and it will give you also period of 15 days, how the tool life was. It also gives you alarm, that is moment the tool becomes blunt, it gives you alarm the tool is blunt, you need to send it for regrinding or you need to send it for the replacement. How it is done? That moment the tool becomes blunt, what happens? Your cutting forces increases, and these cutting forces are measured with the help of the transducer in the CNC machines. And then there is a load indicator on every CNC machines. So the needle of the load indicator starts moving and it starts going to the green zone. On the load indicator, there is like green, and orange and red. And as long as you are in green zone, your cutting is good. Moment the needle goes to the orange zone, that's an indicator that something is going wrong. And if it goes to the and if you don't take action, then it afterwards, suppose if it goes to the red zone, then machine automatically stops. So that orange zone, it gives you time for taking the action, and this is what is your tool life management is. So same thing, tool life monitoring system. So this is an optional feature, it's not a standard feature, it's not a by default. Like you know if you are taking a PC, by default some options will come, uh, or if you're taking a car, by default options will come, and if you want to go on adding, then you have to pay for them. So same thing here, tool life monitoring system is an optional feature for which the customer has to pay extra amount. So that this is a graph, so how the tool life is. Then this is adaptive control. Adaptive control means the CNC machine or the machining will adapt to the situation. Machining will adapt to the situation. Again, adaptive control is a optional feature. It's not a standard feature. So what happens in adaptive control? The speeds, feeds gets adjusted as per the situation. As per the situation means how it is done. Like suppose you are machining the components. Our heat treatment is not so perfect so that the entire batch of say 500 pieces, uh, they have uniform hardness. Sometimes some pieces uh, you get are very hard. Sometimes some pieces are very soft. So what happens if the pieces are very hard? Then that causes problem in machining. And you have given in the program feed rate of say 200 millimeter per minute. If adaptive control option is not there, then what happens? The machine will continue to cut at 200 millimeter per minute. There is no sensors. But if the customer has opted for adaptive control, then there will be sensors which senses the forces, because as the material is hard, there will be cutting difficulties and the force will increase. Moment the force will increase, what happens? This machine will reduce the feed rate accordingly, automatically. So if you have programmed 200 millimeter per minute, it will reduce to say 180, 170, 150, like that. If the adaptive control system is not there, then operator has to or engineer has to take the decision. Correct? It is going to red zone. So manually he has to reduce the feed. there is a switch called as the feed rate override switch on every CNC machines. So the manually he has to reduce the feed. लाइक अगर गाड़ी नहीं चल रहा है तो हम लोग स्पीड कम करते हैं, और गाइड if it is there, if there is no traffic, we accelerate. So these are the decisions taken by us. So same thing, the decisions will be taken automatically on its own, and this is what is adaptive control is. This is if the component is hard. Again, suppose if you are milling a side now, the example which I had given and I asked you to draw. In that, suppose in one of the side, if there is a slot, and slot means now there is no machining, isn't it? So if there is no machining, again the machine will sense कि now there is no machining. Why? Because there are no forces, isn't it? The forces are reduced. So the machine will take a decision that now it has to move fast. So adaptive control helps you to adapt as per the situations, as per the situations, and it is very useful in reducing your machining time or optimizing the machining time. So even if customer has to pay extra for adaptive control, hmm, if customer is planning for unmanned operation like running the machine in third shift without operators, or if operator is looking after say 5 6 machines or 10 machines, then it is worth paying for adaptive control. Hmm. Like, you know, fire extinguishing. If the temperature increases and if the smoke comes, then automatically in adaptive control, uh, the fire extinguishers will be on, or some other decisions will be taken to reduce the temperature or to reduce the smoke. Hmm. Moment the smoke goes, then again the machining will be resumed. That is what is called the adaptive control. Otherwise, the operator has to sit on machine and he has to see, and if anything is going wrong, then he has to take the decision. Then there is something called as the parametric programming. This is again a feature in CNC machines, and this is helpful if you are doing some repeated, you know, kind of machine, that is number of holes. If you want to drill say 50 holes, or 10 holes or 20 holes, mm, and if you in the program, if you don't want to do any calculations, uh, then you can define the calculations in the program that this distance is equal to sine of this multiplied by this. So that can be defined or that can be written in the program, and that is what is your parameter programming. You can also use the statements, like decision statements, like if, while, do, go to. Hmm. Now, parameter programming is not useful nowadays. Why? Because the CAD/CAM softwares are not that costly, and everybody does offline programming because everybody wants to save the actual time on the machine. So everyone, those who are buying CNC machines for say 15 lakhs or 20 lakhs, it doesn't mind, spending money uh, of 1 lakhs or 1.5 lakhs for software, additional software, and it doesn't mind spending 2 lakhs for tooling. Because see, you have a machine, but if you don't have this, like software or a proper tooling, then that machine cannot be utilized. Understand? Like you have AK-47, but you don't know how to use it. Hmm. So you must invest. You must invest on engineer also, then proper operator also, correct? Setters also. then tooling also, so that you can exploit, whatever has been invested, whatever has been invested. So this is what is parametric programming. Now this is not much used because of softwares. The softwares in the softwares, what happens once the modeling is done, then it creates the APT file. That is, moment you say generate toolpath, then next to generate toolpath you have verified toolpath. Then after verified toolpath you have list. Then if you click at that list, then you will get this APT program. Then there is some option called the post process, which I had shown you. So if you click at post process, it will prompt, it will take you to the 2 axis, 3 axis machines. This is not available in student edition. Then in 2 axis, 3 axis machine, you have to select the machine, and then it will also prompt you to the control. That is which control you have. So in post process, there are libraries of the control, almost 250 controls. Normally, most of the softwares they have you know 250 controls stored in. So you have to just select which control you have. Moment you select that control, then you can go. Then that .nc file, that is G codes and M code file, is generated automatically. Or parametric programming में क्या है? You have some mental work. Lot of mental work is to be done. Like your C programming, you have to give the command like if, while, do, go to, etc. So this is tough. Earlier, when there were no CAD/CAM softwares, or when the softwares were expensive, 7 lakhs, 10 lakhs. So that time, this parameter programming was very useful. This is again a beautiful feature of CNC machine, that is background editing. You know the meaning of background, background. That is the peoples who work behind the curtain, like say drama hai, cinema hai, but there are a lot of efforts behind the curtain. So background editing means like your machining is going on, and still if you want to do the program for say next job, or if you want to check the program of the next job. Earlier when this feature was not there, that time how we used to do, we used to stop the machine, that is stop the machining which is going on, and then we used to edit the program or check the program of the next component. So that used to consume time, half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, which cannot be afforded. So background editing may what happens while the machining is going on for the existing component, still you can check, you know, you can check the program for the next component. It's like on our PC, how you can open the multiple files. You can even attend the multiple webinars also, isn't it? This. So similarly, you can do multiple tasks in background editing feature. So this is also a very useful feature, background editing. Nowadays, this background editing feature is a standard one. It's not optional. Earlier, it was optional, but moment because of the competition, like one person or one manufacturer has started giving the background editing free of cost, so others also, in order to stand in the market, they also had to give free of cost. So now background editing is a part of the machine itself. So it's a standard feature. Blueprint programming is nothing but blueprint is nothing but a drawing. Blueprint means nothing but a drawing. So it is something like menu driven programming. So the control will keep on. This is not a offline programming. This you have to do it online. That is, you have to stop the machine and do the programming, or you can do it in the background also. So you have to have a drawing in front of you, and it's a menu driven. That is, the control will keep on asking now what is the diameter, what is the length, which cycle you want to use. It will prompt. So even if a less skilled programmer, or even if the operator who can read English, will be able to do this programming. So it is easy, but again it has a limitation. It cannot do the complex programming. complex program. So for that you have to have a proper CAD/CAM software, as well as you should have a proper personal persons. Then access control and power tooling. So what is this access control and power tooling? Like your tool. uh, in case of CNC lathe, the tool is not rotating. Hmm. Now there are machines in which the tool can rotate, and that is what is called the power tooling. Power means the power is given to the tool. Then some axis X, Y, Z. So there is a provision that even the table can rotate about Y axis, and also about X axis, and also about Z axis. That is what is called the axis control. So what happens in axis control and power tool? Power tooling, the number of axes will increase. Usually number of axes in CNC milling is 3, and in case of CNC lathe it is 2. But if you go for power tooling, that is axis control and power tooling, your number of axes will increase. So this is again a feature. Again, it's a paid one. That is, you have to pay for the extra features. Like suppose if you want a power tooling, that is tool has to be rotated. That means on the lathe you can do milling also. See, milling means what you want. Your tool should rotate. In CNC lathe, the tool is stationary. So if you rotate that tool, then you can carry out the milling operation. So it becomes like a lathe as well as milling, and that is what we call as a turn mill machine. CNC turn mill. Hmm. Then this is a programming feature. This is a programming feature. Like in AutoCAD, you have a command, to rotate, or mirror, or to scale. Uh, to scale means you can make it, 2 times, or you can make it half times. So that is what is shape manipulation. That's a programming feature. That's a software feature. It's not a hardware feature. Again, now this is a standard feature. It's not an optional feature. DNC is called as a direct numerical control, or more appropriately or more technically, it is distributed numerical control. So in this, there is one host computer which controls 10 machines. So the advantage of this is what now, you don't need a computer on every machine. So basically DNC is used for NC machine, because we have seen that numerical control machine doesn't have computers. So NC machines, like 10 NC machines, can be controlled by a single computer. It's not necessary that DNC should control only NC machine. DNC can control CNC also. But all that, in that case, the computer which is on the CNC will be skipped, will not be used. The control will be with the host computer. So if I am using DNC for CNC, the advantage is only that operators will not be required on each and every machine. So that's a huge saving. So it's not necessary that DNC is useful only for NC. It is used for CNC also. This is how the configuration of a DNC is. Like you have a central computer, then you have NC programs which are stored in this computer, and this central computer is nothing but your host computer, and then program is shared uh, from central computer to the various machines. Hmm. like machine number 1, machine number 2, machine number 4, and so on. Hmm? PTR का मतलब है behind the tape reader, behind the tape reader. That is your control unit is behind the tape. Hmm? But again, in DNC, this is not required. Directly, you can control the machines through the centralized computer. So in this DNC, the machine control unit is connected to the central computer. Hmm? Then what happens here? The complete PAN program. Now, as I said, when it is required BTR behind the tape reader, like suppose hmm, there is a program in the host computer of say 1,000 lines, and if you want to send those 1,000 lines in bulk to machine number one, so if it is NC machine, there is nothing to store. So you have an intermediate device which is called the BTR, which is useful for storing these 1,000 lines. So that keeps on sending, to the respective machine. One line, one line, one line. Because NC will only execute one line at a time. So this is what your BTR is behind the tape reader. So it's a temporary, you know, store. It's like a temporary store between your host computer and your machine. This. So it temporarily stores the program. Like suppose if I have 1,000 lines program, then I have to send these 1,000 lines one line at a time to these NC machines. So that will impose some limitations on the central computer. So what it does, central computer, it sends 1,000 lines and it is stored in a BTR. It is something like hmm, this is like your Washika Bhaji market, hmm, and then you have this is a customer, okay, and then you are not going to Washika Bhaji market, so you are buying it from a local person, isn't it? This fellow goes to the Washi market and buys it. Okay, so we are buying it from here. Then you have something. So this is what this DLC switching network. Hmm? So if you want to suppose if you have 10 machines, huh? And then if you want to control say 10 machines, let's say 5 machines, then you have a toggling, huh? That allows you to control 5 machines or 2 machines or 8 machines, and that is what is called the switching network. This is what is switching. Earlier we had to physically disconnect the machine, but now we have, like it is something like you have a spike guard, hmm, with say 6 sockets, and that 6 sockets has individual buttons, on off button. So you connect the spike guard to the main switch, and now you can connect 6 devices to the spike guard because the spike guard has 6 sockets. Normally 6 sockets on a spike guard मिल जाते. Then individual device you can control because there is on off switch on the spike guard. Some spike guards they don't have on off switch, but most of the spike guard they have on off switch for every socket. And you have to buy those kind of spike guards only. Otherwise you cannot control your devices. So it is same. So I have connected 6 devices. Whichever I want, I can switch on or switch it off. There are some issues in switching network, uh, because here it is not that easy. That is, I just give the example of spike guard. Mm. It is just not easy that only switching on and switching off, because the host computer also sends the program to the BTR. So that program can be sent serially or in parallel. That is what is called the serial interfacing and parallel interfacing. So the switching network uh, can be used for, or can be useful for, serial interfacing. That is one thing. Second thing is, if the distances are more than 15 meter, that is you have a host computer, and if your machines are located far away, then it becomes difficulty in controlling the machines. It is something like, suppose if we have a 2 BHK or 3 BHK house, and say, let's say your router, that is Wi-Fi router is kept in at one corner near the window of one bedroom, and you are working in bedroom 2, your brother sister they are working in bedroom 3, your router is kept in bedroom 1, your parents they are working on the laptop work from home in the hall. So the people's, or the person who is working near to the router, you'll get good connectivity. As you go away from the router, will be problem with the connectivity. So same problem we get it. And 15 meter is fair enough. 15 into 3.28, 1 meter is 3.28 feet. Hmm. So it is almost 50 feet, 50 feet. So that is sufficiently fine. So if you can locate, or if you can keep your machines within 50 feet, then there is no problem. Then how to connect? That is networking. So you have little bit knowledge of IoT. So it can be connected in many ways. There is a star network, there is a bus network, there is a WAN network, and most popular is LAN, that is local area network. See now, beauty is of networking. I can give example like, you can keep your CNC machine in USA, and you can sit here at home, just open your laptop, okay, and you run your CNC machine which is in the USA. That is what is called the networking. That is what is called as the IoT. So you can control your office, you control your workshop sitting hmm, at home. This is what is beauty or advantage of networking. Hmm. Then in OpenCNC you have extended memory. Then you can have graphic simulation. You can see the simulation while you don't have to stop the machine while the machining is going on. You can see the simulation. You can use various cycles. You can use sub programs. You can use macros in OpenCNC. As I have told you, the axis which is parallel to the spindle, like this is now vertical machining center. The axis which is parallel to the spindle is called as the Z axis. So here this is vertical and this is horizontal. So this axis becomes Z axis. Usually this is your x longitudinal, hmm, and then transverse is y. So this is your x, this is your y, and this is your z. You can use right hand thumb rule. Here again this is now z in horizontal. This is your horizontal milling machine or horizontal machining center. In this case, this is your z axis. This is x. This is y. Hmm. That right hand rule, etc., you can forget it. It is very simple. Uh, The axis which is parallel to Z and longitudinal is X and transverse is Y. Not much difficult. So these are the different machining processes which are already familiar. That is, turning, drilling, milling, and grinding. So you can have CNC grinding, you can have CNC surface grinding, you can have CNC EDM, you can have CNC weaving machine, CNC spinning machine in textile. Now tolerance handling, how to handle the tolerance. So most of the CNC machines, the resolutions, it is like a list count. You are familiar. Most of the CNC machines they have a resolution of 1 micron, that is 0.001 millimeter, 0.001 millimeter. But if you talk about nano machining and pico machining, then the resolution can be still finer. That is 1 nanometer. That is micron is 10 raised to minus 6 meter. That is 1 micron is 10 raised to minus 6 meter. In nano machining, you have 10 raised to minus 9. Hmm. There are machines available with such a high resolution. We are talking about pico machining, so that is 10 raised to minus 12, because the technology is improving. This is again a standard feature like it is modeling software. You can switch your inch to millimeter. So same, mm, it is very simple that you have an option of selecting inch or millimeter. You can switch also in between inch and millimeter just by changing the code. But you should remember whether you are in inch or whether you are in millimeter. Mm. So that's why generally we don't switch, because if programming mistakes, you know, can make you lose your job, and because it has caused the accidents because of this inch millimeter. Uh, so it doesn't matter if the machining time is more, but as far as possible, I mean, as far as possible, you must see that your program is safe, your machine is safe, operator is safe. There is no accidents. Hmm. Because if accident happens because of, and people understand, and the management understands that it is because of the wrong programming, huh, then management simply, you know, says, goodbye to the programmer. Depends upon the management, but okay, if it is one mistake, fine. But if it is the same mistake repeated, then definitely the management can take these decisions. So you have to be very careful when you're doing programming. So that's why once you make the program, you check, that is, you simulate, then you check it on the machine also without workpiece in single block. Single block means you run the program one block each without component. And this comes under setting. Everybody allows setting time, because that is required. People understand, because if you don't check, overconfidence, and if suppose because of the faulty program, if the tool dash workpieces, then accident happens. uh, so instead of that, you play safe. So first you check on the computer the program, it is safe, syntax, etc. Then you check it on the machine without component, that is, you don't load the component and run it in single block. And then third, you load the component and again you run the program in single block. Single block means one one block. Hmm. And once your confidence here, now program is safe, then only you hand over the machine to the operator. Operator who could check big nahi karega. He'll simply just press the cycle start. That's all. Hmm. And there is another feature, constant RPM and constant surface speed. Hmm. Now what is constant RPM and what is constant surface speed? Hmm. Constant RPM, as I said, that in CNC machine, the speed is infinitely variable, and that is what we call as the positive infinitely variable (PIV). The meaning of this, if particular CNC machine, if it has a maximum RPM of say 6,000, as In our case, our college CNC lathe, it has 6,000 RPM. Nowadays, the machines they have 10,000 or 15,000 RPM. It's very high. So the PIV allows you, to work at any RPM in between 0 to 6,000. You can give the, RPM as say 90.23. It will take it. Whereas this RPM is not possible in conventional. Conventional means you get a fixed RPM, 100, 400 like that. Hmm. So constant RPM means you use a G code, you'll come to know that is G97. G97 is for the constant RPM. So if you say G97 M03, M03 means spindle will rotate clockwise, and S900 means the spindle will rotate at 900 RPM. And constant surface speed means here you have to give the velocity, cutting speed. As I have been telling you, cutting speed is depends upon the type of the material and the type of the workpiece. So if it is MS and carbide, then you use cutting speed as 150 meters per minute. So this is the velocity. So carbide tip we can cut with higher cutting speed. So if you give 150 meters per minute, the control will calculate the RPM depending upon the diameter. Because see in OD turning the diameter keeps on changing. So you cannot calculate go on calculating the RPM and go on changing the RPM. That's not possible. And if it is facing, in the facing, the RPM goes on changing because the diameter goes on changing facing me, and finally the diameter becomes zero. So there is a provision. So if you use the G96 code, that time you have to give the surface speed. So the machine will calculate the RPM, and it will go on changing as the diameter go on changing. And there is a lock feature, means at the center the diameter is zero. So V is equal to pi d n upon 1000. So if the diameter becomes zero, then your RPM will become infinite. So again some damage will occur. So you have to set the maximum RPM. So we say G92 S 4000. That means irrespective of any diameter, even if the diameter is zero, the speed will not exceed more than 4000. That is a safety feature. So this also you have to write in the program. If you don't write that G90, if you don't preset your maximum RPM, then it in the facing moment the diameter become big zero, the machine will try to approach maximum speed. It will start vibrating. A workpiece may fall off. An accident will occur. Then when to use constant RPM? So constant RPM is used in threading, because when you are doing threading and when you are taking successive cuts, that is you are going deeper and deeper, RPM has to remain constant, because if the RPM goes on changing, then your pitch will change. So you will not correct the pitch. So that time constant RPM is required. So that time you must use the code G97. So in threading, you must use G97. Okay, so we'll continue this next time, workpiece 0 and machine 0. Hmm. If you have doubt, you can ask. Otherwise, you can mm, leave. You can, I mean, join on the other class. Thank you so much.